Just then, his mind was anywhere but the patio. Even as the smoke and the laughter of those seated close by washed over him, his thoughts were treading very softly around a sleeping memory, a memory which presently stirred and threatened to lash out like a junkyard dog. It couldn't have been him. There's just no way. He sat panting, with his ears tingling and his stomach in knots. And though he reviewed the sighting in his mind's eye 100 times and meditated on its impossibility, no denial or rationalization could reassure him. Having glimpsed that face, he was now on a dismal train of thought, and there would be no getting off till it reached the station. The dog had broken free of its leash. Jonathan was quick to settle the tab. The waitress thought him extra generous when he threw down a few larger bills and told her to keep the change. In fact, he was merely too flustered to count them. Leaving behind a half-finished plate of food and an untouched beer, he strode off the premises and started down the sidewalk, hands in the pockets of his cargo shorts. Removed now from the chatter of the other diners, from the tang of cigarette smoke and over-applied cologne, he felt somehow vulnerable. It's been more than a year. Why can't you let it go? His therapist had more or less asked him the same question during their last session a few months previous, albeit in more professional language. He still lacked an answer. Memories of the events of 18 months ago were evergreen. No matter how he hacked them down, they invariably sprang back up like hateful weeds, their roots only spreading deeper into his psyche with each successive culling. He picked up the pace and struggled to divert his thoughts. I could see a movie. Maybe go shopping. Or, if I head home now, maybe I could catch a baseball game on TV. Baseball. I should see about buying tickets for a local game one of these days. Thinking on it, he realized it had been years since he'd gone to see a game in person. The last time he'd done so, Ansel had come with him, and his stomach lurched at the mere thought of that name, and he halted on the sidewalk, squeezing his eyes shut. A passerby bumped up against him as he paused, and a woman across the street loosed an obnoxious laugh. None of it registered. Ansel. As if in answer to that thought, in answer to the name itself, the face of that stranger in the crowd loomed up behind Jonathan's eyelids again. His dinner did a jig in his gut, and it was all he could do to keep from vomiting. Palming fresh sweat from his brow, Jonathan continued his trek down the road, staggering past clusters of pedestrians like a man trapped in a dream. The flashing lights of shops and restaurants all but blinded him, and the incessant mumblings of evening bar-goers filled his ears like the buzzing of so many flies. Dude, did you see the last episode? The writers totally lost the plot, said one voice, faceless and transient. The Stones are way better than the Beatles. It's no contest, insisted another. Still another voice cut through the young night. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Jonathan nearly lost his footing at this last. For starters, this latest voice had come from close by, and the words had almost seemed directed at him. More than that, this voice wasn't unfamiliar like the others. Though he hadn't heard it in some time, he felt strongly he could put a face to it. It was a voice he knew well, a memory made manifest. He whipped around as a pair of young women darted past and glimpsed the form of a man standing beside a lamp-post some 10 feet away. The light in the fixture hadn't come on yet, and in the building dusk, the figure was, at best, unclear. He had his back turned to Jonathan, and at first glance, looked like a part of the scenery, just like any other evening wanderer. But there was something in the cut of this figure, something about the light hair, the squareness of his shoulders.